Alright, guys, welcome back. We are watching Mushoku Tensei, Season 1, Episode 4. Last time, we made a friend. We got Sylphiette. Just what Rudius needs. A buddy. I've said that I think Rudius's journey of self-improvement and such, it'll probably be like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? It'll probably be, it won't be like a linear process, I'm sure. And he's got a lot of steps still to take. So no matter how much I liked the way it felt like he was treating Sylphiette at the end of the last episode, I do wonder. I just don't know if he's there yet, right? I am curious if he will be able to, like, does he even understand what like a normal friendship could even be? Like, I just think there's so much more to it, you know? I think there's so much that he isn't ready for yet. So I just kind of wonder, this could be a great opportunity to learn those things and to like figure that all out. But again, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm just kind of wondering. I don't think that's going to be a smooth process. I'm just very curious because this is the first friendship he's had in a ridiculous amount of time, right? A very 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 long time. And I don't think it's just going to be smooth sailing. But anyway, we got episode 4, so you can line and copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Ooh. Oh, was she pregnant? Oh, I see. Maybe he's I wonder if it's gonna be the little brother that he didn't want. It did take many years, huh? That is kind of scary, isn't it? Oh, okay. Oh no. Well. Oh god. Oh no. Paul. Yeah. Oh. Oh god. Oh no. Right. I guess. What are we doing? Ooh. Oh my god. Yeah, that face is about right, huh? Jesus. Oh. And it's the middle of winter, huh? No escape from the house, no escape from the atmosphere. Oh no. What are we doing? Paul, what happened, man? I guess I was talking about how Paul certainly isn't perfect, right? Well, there we go. Oh, what a perfect like atmosphere for it though, right? Just the desolate, snowy landscape outside. Ah, I gotta read the lyrics better next time. It's just hard because I want to look at what's happening, you know? It's not like a normal opening. I don't know if we'll get one eventually. Oh. Oh, and what was the situation that led to this for her, right? Like, cause oh no, right? There's kind of a power dynamic here. It's between her and Paul. I don't want to assume the worst automatically, but I kind of think that had to play a part no matter what. Ooh, man. Oh. Oh, doesn't. Oh, yeah. I mean, if she goes alone with like an infant, no way. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no way, right? And I guess she's already making the assumption that she just has to leave no matter what. Yeah. Ah, probably not. I mean, it'll be 9 months from now, I guess, so it might not be winter anymore, but oh, yeah, I get that. Oh, this is just such a interesting. Yeah, she knows the secret. Oh, hasn't told anyone. Right. The way that he like listed all those things off, I think that says something about the way he views her. Okay. Oh god. Will he be able to pull off this act? Oh, right. Oh no. Right. Oh god. He just wants to keep them together, I suppose, but blaming Paul like this. I mean, it kind of is his fault anyway, I assume, but you know. Oh, that doesn't mean he was actually threatening her and stuff, which makes it even worse, but hmm. I mean, yeah, I don't think she could bring herself to just cast Lilia out anyway, right? Oh god. Maybe he is good at this. It's just such a just the whole situation. Hmm. And that is kind of his real feelings, right? Hmm. God, what was that? Okay, okay. Paul is just the one getting all of the flack. Okay. Can he, though? I don't know. You could totally create a rift that would actually. That sounds good, though, right? You need to have a nice long talk. So, I mean, hey, I can't help but feel like it just kind of is Paul's fault no matter what, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, assuming. Oh no. I mean, I'm assuming Lilia might have been like a willing participant too, and like the power dynamic wasn't really at play in the same way, but I don't know. Oh, really? God, right. Hmm. Now, is she fair to blame herself? Is my question. Hmm. Paul, come on. Oh, really? I think it is unfair for her to just blame herself, for sure. Right? It's yeah, she was the one thinking about him being like it's possessed or something. It's yeah, yeah, like Ooh, just her attitude. I don't know if I like that attitude. She feels like she's so blaming herself for seducing Paul. I don't know. Immediately going to that attitude that she has to like pay him back for all of this, you know? I don't think that's a good attitude to have. Nora and Aisha, oh, they're born. Okay. I no, come on. He's a dad. That's what he does. God, look at them. Is it so it's two girls, I think, right? Nora and Aisha? That's what it sounds like. It it true. Selfie yet looks so serious. he's the he's the errand boy. I guess that's what he deserves. I guess. Maybe that's a good thing to try. Nice. Oh. Really? Okay. Ah. Okay. That's not good. Right. Yeah. Why not? Okay. Ooh, is he getting better? God. Paul, yeah. Huh? Hmm. That actually is. Ooh. I I think you respect him for more than him just being strong. Okay. I see. Oh god. And who says that's cheating? You can use magic in a sword battle, why not? You're supposed to be the one teaching him, so maybe that's your fault. Oh god. Don't say that. Hmm. I, I don't know about that. Yeah. I don't really think so. Not again. I. True. Oh god. Paul needs to stop framing it that way. Hmm. Ooh. That's. I feel like Paul has done a lot of things much worse than Rudy ever has, right? School. Yeah. Oh. He will not want to go to school. But maybe he should, right? I think that would definitely be good for him. So, and Paul's against it. Maybe Zenith will really want him to go. Oh, and don't say that. You cannot be talking to your 7-year-old son like this. You can't. You really can't. It's, no. Right. Ooh, flowers. Oh, she has her own wand. I see. Yeah. Or is that just Rudius's and they're like sharing it? Maybe they're just sharing it. Hmm. Lost in thought. Oh, probably both in this life and his previous one. Ooh. But he might fall behind if he doesn't. Hmm. Aw. She doesn't want him to leave. I mean, of course, right? Hmm. Each other's only friends. And I think he just wasn't thinking about that at all. It's actually sad that he didn't even. Hmm. But at the same time, I don't know if I want him to be completely dependent on her, right? Oh God, that is not a good thing to be thinking. Not at all. What is wrong with him? A letter, huh? Oh, Roxy! Where is she at, huh? Sharon Kingdom. I see. Okay, nice. I kind of doubt you're gonna have any students quite like him. It's great. She knew about that the whole time. Mm-hmm. Right. There we go. Thank you. Perfect. Maybe that's what Rudius needs, right? There we go. Ooh. Nice. Oh, I love that. Not quite. No. He says he feels like he's stagnating. Maybe that'll give him the motivation he needs. Yeah, right. The Magic University. Maybe that's where we're headed. I don't know. Can you go there as a 7-year-old now? Oh, really? Wow. So she is very impressive, huh? Oh, the secret's out. True. Hmm. I guess. Is that a good motivator? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you should be motivated purely, like, for those kinds of feelings. An unreasonable request. Right. True. Okay. Oh, really? He's made up his mind. Yeah, yeah. Kick him again. Oh, costs money. Yeah. Ooh, that might be a very unreasonable request. I wonder. No. That simple? I suppose. Has a lot to teach him. Yeah, yeah, that's the more important part. Ah, yeah, not that well off as a family, huh? Ooh, he's gonna go get a job. Oh no. Rudius could never have a job. Oh. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be. The way he's so attached to Sophie, like, immediately, it makes sense. Because it's the first connection like that he's had, but Huh. But I don't know if this extreme attachment that they have to each other like that. Because they're both similar in that way, right? They both kind of have no friends other than each other. I don't know. Rudius needs more than that. So does Sylphie, right? Ooh, someone here? A visitor? Ghislaine. What was Rudius's face? Oh, it's quite the outfit, huh? Yeah. That's a beast person, I suppose. Oh, they know each other. That's one of them. Aw. True. Everything's good to go. Take good care of Rudius. Oh no, is this the job? Oh, he's leaving. Seems as if he knows nothing about it. Ooh. Stay away from Sylphie. That is an interesting way to phrase it. Very true. Time to just throw him in there. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, I guess we'll see if using magic in a sword fight really is unfair. I kind of think Rudius is just gonna get owned, though. Like, I... Oh, what is that? Ooh. It's, yeah, like, no chance, right? Ooh. Oh god, so violent. God, so what are we doing? Where are we sending him to? Stay away from Sylphie. Huh. Yeah, right? With Ghislaine here. Very. She seems to have quite the attitude about Paul, huh? Working together for what? Yeah, what are we doing, huh? I like that track. God. Okay. Oh, we have an ending. Duh. Man, alright. That episode, there's a lot of curveballs, huh? Like, just we started the episode with Lilia being pregnant at the same time as Zenith. Aw. Man, that was a cool episode. That was a cool one. Immediately just leaving, being forced out of his comfort zone in a way, which is kind of what it felt like the village and Sylphie and everything was becoming for him. Which I think that's what he needs, right? That's kind of what you need for growth in a way, in my mind. So, huh. Lots of stuff to think about, though. Like his attitude about Roxy, and the motivation he was finding from the place of not wanting to disappoint her is interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that. Whether or not that's a good, like in my mind, is that a good motivator? Is it good if your motivation to do stuff in life is, oh, I just don't want to disappoint the ones around me? Um, Probably not. I would rather if motivation to do stuff with your life comes from a place other than that. Uh, but at the same time, it's interesting because I think Rudius in his previous life, that had to be that had to really surround him, right? The disappointment of people around him. A young lady and violence. Well, no spoilers. Okay. Watch. Can I speak? We'll talk about the episode in the discussion. Okay. This might have been my favorite episode so far. I like this one a lot. Lots of stuff to think about. It's just like kind of challenging stuff to consider in my mind. Paul, what are we doing, man? Like, what the hell was all of this? The first, like, I don't even know, 30 seconds of this episode are crazy. Like, oh god, she's pregnant too. Like, man, oh god, Paul, what? Jesus. I don't even know, where do I even start? What do I even say? You know? So there's so much stuff to it. What he did here is not good, right? And the way that it feels like he almost like is basically gets away with it in a sense, he, like in quotation marks, right? That's kind of the less charitable way you could look at it, right? I can understand that seeming as like almost like frustrating, maybe, right? The way that he only gets through all of this because of how, I guess, accommodating and nice and like forgiving of a person that Zenith has to be, right? To put up with this, like no matter what, Lilia blaming herself, which for one I think just says something about the way Lilia views herself and her position and everything, especially her attitude towards Rudius afterward as well. I think that's very, I think that says a lot about her as a person and how she like thinks about her position in society and stuff. Um, yeah, like Paul fucked up, right? This is not good. I like how in the last episode I was talking about how like Paul is definitely not perfect, not in any sense. And then we immediately start this episode with this, right? Like, I just, I guess to me, like, uh, is it like unforgivable or anything? No, of course not. It seems like Paul. I mean, did Paul learn a lesson from this? Like, I guess, right? Later in the episode, he's still thinking like, oh, but it's fine if I'm still with Lilia, right? Where it's like, I mean, I don't know. Is that part of the agreement here, man? I don't really think so. Right? Like, does he understand? Did he learn a lesson here? Maybe not really, right? Maybe he just got chewed out by Zenith and then life just moved on and that's just kind of how it is. And for a lot of people, I think that's just kind of how it works is you fuck up and you make a mistake. And I think most people, even in a situation like this, they don't actually even learn much of a lesson from it, right? And maybe that's just the situation that Paul himself is in here, you know? Um, God. And it's weird because despite how much Paul fucked up here, how much of a mistake he made, and how much of a, other stuff we learn about him in this episode too, about like what the hell is up with this story between, yeah, he assaulted Lilia in their past and stuff when she was sleeping. What the hell are we talking about? And then she ended up being his maid, his live-in maid. Like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? Right? Like, this is ridiculous, you know? This whole situation just can't be good. It can't be good at all, right? Um, and yet, despite all of that, despite all of my extreme misgivings about this whole situation, um, I still think for sure that Paul can teach Rudy things, right? It's not like I think Paul's like an unforgivable, terrible person. I kind of think that line, if I have a line for that, which I think everyone does, like for sure, Rudius is nowhere near that. Paul, I think, is still nowhere near that, of course, right? I don't know what horrible, unforgivable things you would have to do for me to think that you're just unsalvageable as a person or whatever, right? And I like how I guess these flaws with Paul, for one, this is all stuff long ago in his past, right? Like for sure. Um, and it feels so. It's interesting that we learn it now. All of these very negative things about Paul's past, and it's kind of challenging in a way because it makes you think about like the way you've been viewing Paul this whole time up till now, right? The way that like life just kind of moves on for him. He's made all of these horrible mistakes. He's done all of these horrible things, and look at the position he's at now. Uh, just like what I was saying about his the conflict of this episode, right? The whole thing of getting Lilia pregnant too, and how that all pans out. It's not like Paul, he doesn't face these awful consequences that destroy his life for these mistakes he made. And no matter, as a viewer, it's like you might want that, right? Obviously, uh, this is kind of a small thing in the grand scope of things, right? But it's kind of, I think, a very human thing to want to see people be like punished or face some kind of retribution for bad actions. Uh, but I think that's just kind of not how life works a lot of the time, right? I just think when I see Paul like this now, obviously happily living his life still, having a family, having a house, all of this stuff, I just think like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I think a lot of people maybe not make as horrible of mistakes as it seems like Paul has made in the past, or even in the very recent past with this whole Lilia situation. Um, and life just kind of moves on. It just kind of keeps going. And I think it makes sense that Paul isn't, Rudius thinks of him as scum and all of this. Uh, but I think that's kind of unfair. I think it's unfair to define Paul as just being scum and nothing else. He's someone who's made a lot of mistakes, a lot of terrible mistakes, and I think he deserves a lot of flack for him, especially this one. What just happened in this episode, especially, right? But I think just defining him as scum, I mean, that's kind of the same thing that Rudius, people would think about Rudius in his previous life, right? Obviously, it's not like Rudius, he like hates Paul or anything now. It seems like he still respects him. I mean, he literally says that, right? He says he respects him because he's like strong, but I think he respects him for more personal reasons than just that, right? I think he looks up to him and feels a connection to him because he's his father, essentially, right? And they've lived together, and there's all these like actual personal reasons for that. And I just think that's how it is. I just think that's how it is. Like it's yeah, no, there's something very like there's something that feels very impactful to me about it, about the fact that we've presented all of these horrible things Paul has done in the past, horrible things he's done now, and all of this, and yet we don't really dwell on them. It's just like, yeah, that's Paul has made mistakes too. If anything, that gives me hope that he's someone that maybe Rudius can like learn even more from, right? Obviously, by the end of the episode, we're being shipped off to God knows where with Ghislaine. So like, what the hell is happening? We're leaving. I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, it's very all of that stuff with Paul, I think, is very fitting with like the overall idea that the story is presenting through like Rudius as the main character, and like the idea of him being able to like change and like redeem himself in a sense. I guess that whole idea of viewing it like Rudius has to like redeem himself for things that he's done in the past, because I feel like that's such an easy way to view it, right? That's kind of what I keep feeling like I view it as. um, I think that's kind of flawed in a sense, because it's like, I think working to always redeem yourself for the past, right? Like if Paul, you would never be able to you'd never just be able to live your life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you should be focused on the past, and you shouldn't be focused on dwelling over mistakes you've made. You have to be focused on, I guess, what Rudius himself kind of said in the first episode, right? Which is just trying as hard as you can for the future with the opportunity you have moving forward, right? And I guess we're kind of challenged through Paul to recognize that, especially just with this bombshell that they drop here about what he did to Lilia in the past. It's terrible, right? But will that make me hate Paul? I guess not, right? And I guess it shouldn't. I think it would be unfair of me to be like, no, Paul is just a terrible, awful person. Um, it all just depends. I've got to be fair to him, I think, and I think that's how it has to be. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And maybe it's like, obviously we see for Lilia how much of a, the kind of person she is in this episode, blaming herself for what happened here. I wonder if how that's how she views this situation back then too, right? Like, because this is awful, right? Like, that what he did to her here is terrible. And this thing, right, assaulting her in her sleep, to me is like basically an unforgivable thing, right? Like, that's not something that's something that I think Paul can just like make up for in a way, right? Does that mean Paul is a terrible person forever and can never like never be do good things ever? Like, no, right? Sure. And I think it would be unfair of me to view him in that way forever, right? So I don't know. It's such a conflict there, I guess, because just it's so hard for your mind to not go to thinking about how awful just this sentence on screen is right now, right? And just think about, God, like the kind of person that you would have to be to do that kind of thing. How terrible, right? But if I believe that people can change and that people can do better, sure, right? Obviously, it's all kind of bundled up with with what Paul also did in this episode. So it's like you think, oh, well, has he even changed? I mean, yeah, what he did in this episode is bad, right? Like cheating on your pregnant wife is insane, right? I guess she wasn't pregnant yet. Just cheating on your wife is crazy, right? That's not a good thing at all. Uh, but people make mistakes. People are human. Like, sure, that kind of sounds like cope, right? That's kind of the point, right? You can make mistakes. That doesn't mean you should excuse everything that you do wrong, right? And this episode doesn't. It's not like we really let Paul off the hook exactly, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's very challenging to think about for like my morality and like the way I want to think about God. It was just ridiculously loud thunder outside. I hope that wasn't like loud. Um it's very challenging just for like my morality to like think about these things, I guess. Because those are two very important things to me. Is the idea that one, like, obviously morality is important to me. I don't think people should be doing awful things. Like, yeah, what a shocker, right? Like the stuff that Paul did in the past and in this episode are both really bad, but I also want to believe that anyone can do better and that you shouldn't hold people to their past forever, right? Like to me, the idea of you of like putting throwing someone in prison for the sole sake of like punishing them or something, right? I think that's pointless, right? Like I don't think there's any reason to do that, right? In society, the reason why we punish people harshly for crimes like that is for like protection and stuff, right? Like you can't even if someone's killed someone, it's kind of impossible to know if they've ever changed to the point where they won't do it again, right? There's no way to know, and we can't take that risk as a society, right? So for Paul's situation, and the way that this world kind of works at large, like yeah, it seems like the horrible thing he did to Lilia, assaulting her in her sleep, seems like he faced no actual punishment for that, right? He was never, in modern society, you would probably get thrown in prison for that. That didn't happen to Paul, right? Um, and I'm being faced with the uncomfortable idea that even though today that kind of thing, like yeah, Paul should have gone to jail for that or something. That is the consequence he would have faced. He didn't, and it was probably a long time ago. Like I mean, he said it was in their past when they were young, I assume. Uh, and I can't. I think it goes against, like, my moral system to say that that means Paul's, like, unsalvageable and can't like, I think him facing a punishment for that would be a separate thing from him being able to change as a person and be able to, like, do better, right? Anyway, it's enough about all that talk. God, this whole situation is so rough with Lily and all of this. Of course, she just immediately wants to leave, right? It seems like Lilia thinks very little of herself, like so much. She blames herself for this situation in the first place, right? She says that she seduced Paul, which like he was just as much even if she planned that. She left her bedroom door open and all of that while she was like bathing to like specifically seduce him and stuff. He still made the decision to be seduced. You know what I mean? Like men's sexual like desires and stuff aren't an uncontrollable thing that they have no control over at all, right? That would be a very convenient excuse for Paul, right? Like no, obviously not. He was just as much of a willing participant in this as she was, right? Her blaming herself for it entirely is ridiculous. And the way that she thinks about it afterwards, about how she, Rudius got her out of the situation and she like owes him so much and all of that. That's just not good, that is not a good way to view this kind of thing, right? Like, oh man, I really don't like that. I really don't like the way that she thinks about herself and the way that it feels like she has such a low opinion of like her worth and like and all of that, right? It's very much shown here at this table scene. I guess her just assuming she has to leave and that she'll just be gone, and that she's just that it's just over for her and all of this, right? Like I feel so bad for her. I really do. I obviously I blame Paul for the situation. Like what Rudy has said about how Lilia can't say no to Paul, that really is true. There really is a power dynamic at play here, right? And just because of that, even if Lilia was fully willing in this situation, as was Paul, I feel like I just blame Paul more for it no matter what, right? Like it's kind of impossible for me not to, right? Is seeing the situation too. Like, yeah, yeah. Paul can't just fall for all of his desires and like I guess it's not him, he doesn't try and pass off the blame onto Lilia. It's Lilia doing it to herself, right? But she's just being unfair to herself, right? Yeah, yeah. God, Paul is just getting screamed at. I mean, he deserves it, right? I really wonder what the long talk him and Zenith had at the end. What that contained, huh? Like, man. Hmm. Can picture Lilia collapsing in the snow with her baby clear as day. Yeah, it's like she's putting herself at risk and the baby and everything. So we can't just let her leave. It feels so unfair that it has to all be on Zenith. It's like such a oh god, her husband just cheated on her, and now she is the one who has to extend this generosity and all of this to keep everything together. Like, that has to be so frustrating, right, to her. She has to be such a strong person. She has to be such a like she really is like the boss of the house, right? Like for sure, especially after this. Um, it just has to be so infuriating, My husband just cheated on me. Now I have to be the one to try and put all the pieces back together and everything, right? Because Paul's over there in a corner with his head down. It's so, yeah, yeah. I think that's realistic. I think that's probably how it goes a lot of the time, right? Because Paul is just pathetic, right? He's just pathetic. Like he doesn't have anything to say or anything. He got Lilia pregnant and he has no excuses. Not that there's any excuse he could make, right? Just yeah, yeah. Like what a. But it's not like that in my mind. Like I think you can work through that. I think Paul and Zenith can work through that, and they can continue to be married and be happy with each other, and they can work through that problem, and that it shouldn't just make it all unsalvageable and make it all be over, right? No matter how frustrating it has to be from Zenith's perspective, right? Like anyway, Rudius thinks all this stuff about it's very like intentional in my mind how he thinks about all these things, all of these reasons why he likes Lilia, why he cares about her, because she does all these like maid stuff, right? She lays out blankets for him and makes a bath for him and all of this, right? Um and I think it's very telling that that's what his mind goes to. One, I think it's kind of cope. I think it is still Rudius distancing himself from his emotions, the same way in this episode. He thinks of Selphie in this really awful, like, sexual way, thinking about how he's gonna raise her to be his wife and all of this stuff, right? I still can't help but feel, just like in this scene too, that it's still because Rudius has, like, this disconnect from, like, real normal emotions that he is experiencing for other people, like he does with Lilia here, and he wants to come up with excuses, right? He in his mind for Selphie always turns to this like sexual angle because that's like in a sense the only way he knows to view like people of the opposite sex, like I guess, right? With Lilia, his mind just goes to all of this like maid stuff that she's done for him, right? He's like, oh, she makes a bath for me and stuff, right? Because I think it's really hard for him to even recognize in his own head like a just like normal emotional connection that he has to another person. Like it seems like him and Lily aren't like super close or anything, but he's lived with her for 7 years. He definitely has like just a normal like familial because she's part of the family basically, right? Just like a normal familial feeling of like affection for her and just like connection and that kind of thing. Something that in his previous life, considering his relationship with his family and stuff, that's probably something that it's so hard for him to recognize, something that's so difficult for him to like think about in his own head and realize that that's what he's feeling. Like especially like how poisoned his mind is by like anime and video games and stuff. Like he probably views Lilia as like the, oh, she's the maid, right? Like he views her as like that idea, that trope, that all of that. And I think he doesn't like understand the feelings of just like affection, not in like any weird sexual way or anything that he feels towards her, right? And yeah, yeah. And that's why his mind goes to all of that, all of those like mundane things, right? That are in my mind kind of just excuses or like his own understanding of his feelings, the way he tries to like justify it. Because it's so hard, I think, for him to accept that like familial feeling of like connection to others, right? After what happened with his family in his previous life and how long he went without experiencing that, you know? Anyway, Rudius puts on the act of a lifetime here. But it's kind of real. It's kind of real in a way because he really doesn't, he doesn't want their family to break up, right? He doesn't want it to happen, right? Like, in his heart, he wants to have a family and he wants them to be connected to each other and he wants to like have this so badly, right? Like he didn't have it in his previous life, at least once he locked himself in his room and everything, right? And I think it's such a human thing to just feel that desire. It's like he sees that it could be happening, that this could fracture the family, that this could create this rift that just ruins everything. And then it's like what? That's bringing you so close to just falling into that same trap he was in his previous life, you know. It's like if you don't have a family at the very least, that's kind of the thing that you need in my mind to keep you away from that kind of like dark place at the very least. So Iridius blames it all on Paul, which you know what? Even though Iridius is making this up, I kind of agree. Like Paul deserves it. It's Paul's fault no matter what. Even if it wasn't this blatant and it wasn't this much like what Rudius is saying, like framing it in this way, it's still completely Paul's fault, right? So like, it's, he deserves it. Like, come on. I love Zenith's face there. Like, God. But of course she would say no, right? Yeah, can't openly admit it. God. Paul helped me out with Sylphie, but he dug his own grave this time. Sorry, I'll make it up for you sometime. Man. And God, Rudius is so good at playing the stupid little kid, huh? But it's kind of true. Everything that he says is kind of actually true. He doesn't want the family to break up. He really doesn't at all. Yeah, like what he says at the end there, he doesn't want to say goodbye to Lilia yet. That's so real, and that's so true. And it's like actually this isn't him putting on an act. Right. Like at the end of this, he thinks about it. He thinks of it in that way, as if it's just him. She fell for it or whatever. But no, no. So we will stay together. Paul's gotta, it's gotta pick up the pieces a little bit. That's what he deserves, though. So there we go. And Paul is not happy with Rudius, huh? And yeah, we get the scene of Lilia, yeah, Lilia blaming herself and stuff. It's like so God. I wonder what led her to this situation, right? Like, for one, the fact that she's the maid of this family after what happened in their past, like that's crazy, right? Like that's so like not good, right? That can't be good. Um, and I just wonder why does she feel like this is her position like in society, right? She works as a maid, and is it just because of her work as a maid that has led her to view herself in this light as if like everything, as if it's not her place, as if all of this had to be her fault? It's all of that stuff, right? That even with what happened with Rudy is here, she views it as something that she has to pay him back for. Yeah, I was forgiven. Rudius forgave me. That child understood exactly what had happened and smoothly guided the conversation to a compromise. Yeah, she thought of him as like a demon. Yeah, like look at this kid, right? Can't blame her. He saved my life. I have to spend my life repaying him. That's such a oh God. I don't want Rudius to be surrounded by people who think like that, right? I don't think that would be good. That would be a very bad influence on Rudius if he was around Lilia with her thinking that she has to repay him and stuff. Because I think that's like one of the worst attitudes you can have for like relationships in your life. To think that anything another person does for you or anything like that you're like so like lowly and worthless that you have to pay them back. Like that's not good. That is not good at all, right? Have it serve Rudius Sama. Don't say that. I really don't want Rudius to have a little sister who dedicates herself to serving him. Like that does not sound good, right? That really does not sound good. Anyway, we got Norn and Aisha. Which one's which? Do they say? I think they say later. Um But yeah, two girls. He indeed did not get the little brother that he was so worried about. I like how like locked in Sylphiette looks here. Like look at her. She's so practicing magic or something, I guess, right? Studying. And yeah, they gotta deal with normal babies now. No more Rudius not crying ever. Decided I want to be a cool big brother he's looked up to. That is an interesting attitude for him to have. That's another thing that kind of feels like it's from Rudius's like anime brain and like video game brain, like in terms of like tropes and stuff. That's such a like yeah, he wants to be that kind of character, you know what I mean? I don't really know if that's how life's gonna work out for him or not. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if he'll end up having a relationship of any kind like that with his siblings, huh? Might not end up the way he thinks it will. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe one of them will be way cooler than he is, right? So yeah, they studied swordsmanship together. So they go way back. Back then, Paul had talent but hated practice and goofed off. That's another thing where it's like there's kind of these connections between like Paul's past and stuff and like Rudius's past. That it feels like it feels like in a sense Paul has like these similarities, right, to Rudius in a way that I just wonder how he'll think about all that. Yeah, what a good for nothing, right? He fled the training hall. Yeah, yeah. Putting it mildly, Paul is scum. But despite all his faults, I respect this man. Why? Because he's strong. I think there's more to it than just that. Anyway, we learned some more. There's like that moment with Roxy telling us all the levels of magic and stuff. We got Sword God style, Water God style, and North God style. What what could those possibly be? I don't know. When he's fighting Paul later in the episode, Paul like deflects his attack or something, and he's like, "Oh, this is Water God style." I guess that kind of like makes sense, right? Like the Water God style being like deflecting and all of that. That would make sense to me. Sure, sure. He's advanced in all three. I see. Is it really cheating to use magic in a sword duel? Like, if Rudius can do it, then sure. I feel like the downside of magic in a sword duel normally would be that you have to say the incantation, right? And that, like, takes time and stuff. But Rudius can do it instantly. He doesn't have to do that. So, I feel like, if anything, he needs to, like, be using magic in fights and stuff? Is it cool to cheat on your wife and always wreck your family? Oh, God. Lilia is not fine. Like, no, yeah, Zenith might go back to her parents' house without a word next time. Unless we've worked out a deal, Paul, I don't think that's okay, right? Like, this is what I mean, how it feels like Paul just hasn't even learned a lesson here. It's like, he really is. He's very deeply flawed as a person, right? But everyone is, I suppose. It's so challenging to think about to me, you know? Hmm. Anyway, Paul has more like it's poisoning his son's mind with sexual thoughts. Like, God, he needs to. He can't be doing this. Like, come on. And see, and this is what I mean, right? Rudy is thinking of himself as scum as well. It's like, I think it's unfair of him to think of himself like that, right? I think it's unfair to think of Paul as just being scum and end of story. I don't think it's fair to really think of anyone like that as just being scum and that's it. But there's obviously a line, right? Like it's Hitler. It's- I think you should probably think of Hitler as that, right? There's got to be a line, right, between Hitler and like it's normal people, right? And there's somewhere in there where it's fine to just be like, yeah, this person is just like unforgivable scum. But I don't know. I don't think there's ever a point in thinking of yourself as like that. That's for sure, right? Uh, yeah. Yeah, you can recognize your flaws and your mistakes and such. I think Paul probably really needs to do that. It feels like Paul isn't really he feels like he's got some work to do in that department. But I think just thinking of yourself as scum and nothing else, that's not good. I don't think you should do that. Anyway, we talk about school, whether or not Rudius wants to go. Rudius has some school trauma, right? So I think it would be good for him. I think it would be good for him to go to school. A kid like you would get bullied for sure. Don't say that. Um, it would be good for him for sure. Is he gonna go though? I probably at some point. I hope. I assume. because I think he has some trauma to get past that I think going to school would help him deal with. But I don't know. I don't know. I wonder. I wonder. It's like Paul saying all of this is if Rudy, like, for one, Paul, your son is 7 and has no idea what you're talking about, and for two, Rudy is also in his previous life has no experience with this at all. He stayed in his room for 20 years, so he also has no idea what you're talking about still. So like, God. Hmm. We get a very nice scene here between Sylphie and Rudius. Rudius has like these thoughts in this episode about like how like he's just gonna be surpassed by everyone and he's just stagnating and all of this. It kind of betrays like the way Rudius feels about himself still, of course, right? Like no matter how much Rudius like it feels like he thinks of himself as like an anime protagonist and stuff. He's been, brought to another world and he's special in all of this in a way. Like not really, right? He still, of course, he has these negative feelings that come from all of the experiences he went through at being a recluse and everything. It's yeah, it's not gonna be that easy to kick that kind of thing. Hmm. They say I've been weird since I was born. Right, right. So he brings up the idea to Sylphie about him leaving. There not being much more for him to do in this village, and of course she doesn't want him to leave, right? He's never experienced that, he's never experienced this ever, right? Someone being this attached to him in this way, right? I just he can't even imagine that, Now I do think I said this during the episode too. I do think it's probably good for him to not be completely dependent on Sylvie, especially with the weird shit he was thinking about her and all of that. I think for him to have a healthy relationship with someone, for him to have this much of a connection, they're so dependent on each other, right? Like they're each other's only friends, right? Like in this scene we see how much Sylvie is dependent on him. She can't imagine him leaving and how awful that is. I think it'll be good for her too, for him to leave, right? I think in the long run, it's like a good thing, right? But I do think this moment here is definitely meaningful for Rudius to see someone have this much of an attachment to him, and he's never experienced that before, right? Yeah, and if anything, like the thoughts he goes through here, spending his time peacefully with Sylvie in this village, I don't know if that's good. The village is kind of just becoming like his comfort zone now, and I don't know how much growth, how much change he can experience, how much of a how much change he can go through if he just stayed in this village with Sylvie forever. He needs to make more connections. He needs to experience more out there in the world still, right? God, he made this this like figurine of her in a wedding dress. God, he's gotten really good at making these, huh? But yeah, like what he thinks here in a moment. I'll raise her to be my ideal woman. Like, no, we gotta split these two up, right? Like Rudius is not. I still think it's still in the same vein of him not being able to separate this emotional connection from like the weird sexual feelings that he's developed for like all women no matter what because of like his 20 years of like all the experiencing all of that. That's the only way he like views people of the opposite sex, right? I still think it's that, and I think he cannot have. I think he's got to get away from this from this girl for now, right? Like I think it's definitely a good thing that he is left, right? I wonder how in the future he will deal with that problem, right? Like, because it feels like he those lines were like crossed for him. That idea of like his like sexuality and like emotional connection, right? Those things feel so, especially just for like women and girls, right? Those are two things that it's like impossible for him to separate. That he can't imagine separating. It feels, that's why he thinks and says things like this. I just wonder how in the future he would ever like fix that, because I mean, I think that's a problem that a lot of people face, like for sure, right? Like, in the real world, a lot of men are unable to really like have like normal friendships with like women and stuff, right? Like it's like it really is like a difficult thing. It's like a lot of people do just view women purely as like sexual and basically nothing else, and it's yeah a real problem. How does that ever get fixed? I don't know. Not with the way Rudius is thinking right now. That's for sure, right? That's for sure. I would say, like what happens here, his connection to Roxy, despite the fact that he's doing the same thing with her, with like the panties and all of that, stealing them. It's that same thing with like the way he's thinking about Sylphie here. Um, I think the respect that he feels for her and everything, that could be part of the key as well, right? He just needs to be able to view. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know what he needs. I don't know what he needs exactly. I don't know how you fix that. I don't know. I don't know. Because he totally respects Roxy and views her as like someone that he looks up to a lot and all of that. And yet it's not like that fixes the problem for him of only being able to view it through that like sexual lens, basically, right? Hmm. I don't know, or at least there's like an element of like sexuality in it, no matter what, that he feels like has to be present, you know. Anyway, Roxy's in the Sharon Kingdom, which looks like crazy. It's like this city around like a lake with like giant like walls around. I mean, it looks crazy, right? What a insane city, huh? It must be so beautiful. I can't even imagine. I feel like this would be like unsafe. I would be worried about like erosion, you know, like this these rivers are slowly gonna work away at this, right? I don't know. I don't know. Hyrule is the seventh prince's tutor. Learns magic quickly. He's a lunatic pervert, just like you. Thank God she sets him on fire. It's deserved. She's learned king class water magic, and she thinks about how surely he's learned like emperor magic by now, all of this, but yet he thinks of himself as having stagnated. And using this motivation of feeling like he's going to let Roxy down if he doesn't do more, that's what motivates him to think, oh, I want to go to Renoa, right? I want to go to the Magic University. Um, is that a good line of logic? Is that a good thing to be motivated by? To think that, oh, if I don't do better, I'm going to let all of these people down, right? Because that's kind of distilling it down, that's kind of what it is. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's better than nothing, right? But I think that's kind of a sad way to think about it. If your motivator in life to do better and to try harder is, oh, if I don't, all of these people are going to be so disappointed in me. I think you're kind of setting yourself up for failure because like it's in Rudius's head, right? Him thinking that he's going to let people down, him thinking he's going to let Roxy down. Because I don't think she would think like that, right? Like I can't imagine Roxy meeting Rudius again and being like, "Oh, you're still only saint level. What a loser!" You know, like no way, right? And I think if you are using that as a motivating factor to like do stuff in life, the problem is that you are the judge of that. Is that it's just an imaginary thing, whether or not you're letting others down. It's kind of an impossible standard to live up to in a way, which is why I think your motivation has to come from somewhere like within yourself. That's a really hard thing to do, right? Rudius isn't at that point yet. Is anyone at that point? I don't know. That's rough, right? That is rough. Please seek admission to Renoa Magic University, which he does indeed want to go to. And apparently, yeah, you can count all the king class mages in the world on one hand. So, God, Roxy is so impressive, huh? And yeah, the secret's out. The secret's out. Hmm. So we asked Paul about going alongside Sylphie. That's kind of the issue, which I think. So Paul says at the end of the episode, like he wants Rudius to stay away from Sylphie, and I think this is part of why is because he sees like the connection between them, maybe even being like unhealthy in a way, the way that they're so attached to each other that Rudius like can't even go anywhere and do anything without bringing Sylphie with him, right? Like I don't know if Paul has that much foresight and that much understanding of their connection and everything, like what that means. But maybe, right? That's kind of how I'm thinking of it, you know? Because I mean, he kind of says it. He kind of says it here, right? Like saying that Sophie cried so much that she didn't want him to leave. So maybe breaking them apart, just is kind of the best way to do it, right? But yeah, they don't have enough money. They can't do it. No way. Paul still has a lot to teach them. Yeah, like it's not time for you to. Yeah, yeah. They don't have that much money. But Rudius wants a job. He wants a job, which like I thought the name of this was jobless reincarnation. Like you're telling me he's getting a job? Like it's come on. It's no way Rudius could ever have a job, right? So Paul, yeah, he keeps to his word. He gets his job for him, which is apparently with this Ghislaine woman who is for one a beast person, as Rudius puts it. I wonder if there's a different name for it than that. It's maybe. But he's being shipped off with her, apparently. Off we go. Yeah, Norn. Okay, so this is Norn. And then Lilia's daughter, red hair girl, is Aisha. Okay. Norn and Aisha. So it's time to go. I like Paul's face here, because he's preparing. He knows what's gonna happen. He knows that Rudius has no idea what's going on, and he's gonna have to fight him. Yeah, time to go. Ooh, we're being sent out of our comfort zone. I love the shot of Paul here. It's so like imposing. It's so uh, yeah. If I tried to explain, you just argue your way out. So like so true, right? Of course, Rudius would come up with whatever. So he's gotta knock him out. God, Paul is yeah. Rudius has got a lot to learn, right? He is not as strong as Paul yet. That is for sure. So we're knocked out. Wake up in the carriage, and we're heading off to somewhere with Ghislaine here. With Ghislaine, she has a sword and a sheath, like a katana or something, maybe. Interesting. I wonder where we're going. You're awfully polite for Paul's son. Yeah, it seems like she has quite the it's quite the attitude about Paul too, huh? Zenith knew Ghislaine as well, so I wonder if it's part of like their past and all of that, right? Like the adventuring stuff, you know? Maybe. Starting tomorrow, we work together. What are we gonna do? Who knows? Who knows? Episode 4, Emergency Family Meeting. Yeah, I think that was my favorite episode. I think that was my favorite episode. What's the next episode called again? A Young Lady and Violence. Oh god. That's scary. Rudius is gonna get beaten up. Maybe that's what he needs, right? Like he needs Roxy to set him on fire. He needs someone to beat him up. There we go, right? Surely that'll be conducive to good development on Rudius's part, right? Um, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Lots of challenging stuff to think about, I guess, right? Like because I'm not supposed to hate Paul. I'm not supposed to hate Paul. And I think it would be unfair of me to just be like, "Oh, Paul did these bad things in the past, so that means I hate him and he's awful," right? No. And I keep saying in the past cuz like cheating on his wife, like yeah, that's terrible, right? Sure, but that's nothing compared to the the Lilia stuff in the past, right? Like that is horrible, you know? Um but does that mean it's unforgivable? Like, no, I guess not, right? Like, who know? For one, who knows how young Paul was, right? Like, if a 15-year-old kills someone or something, do you think if they've been in jail for 30 years that they're the same person, right? In my mind, no. I think someone can change, especially mistakes they made when they were young, right? Like for sure, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I suppose that's it. Next time, I guess we'll see what Rudius's job is, huh? Okay. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.